Jane Porter, Product Manager for the Platform Services area. I've just got a couple of slides to go over some of the things that we've delivered in Q3. Mainly the delivery part of the team has been focused on some API updates. Some of this has been planned for quite a long time, like the delete by ID. For those of you that have been following us, you know that we've actually now got a time series collection. But some of you were very reliant on delete by ID. Well, that finally got enabled by MongoDB version 7. So we've now re-enabled that API for the time series collection on Cumulocity. Please do be aware that it doesn't perform as well as the other approaches to deleting your time series data. So if you can delete by query or using retention rules, that is what we would propose you do. But if you do need delete by ID, it's now available for you, so you can start working on it, making sure it works as you need it to, performs as you need it to, so that you can start that migration to the time series collection. We've made some update to the latest value. We now support the latest but one, so you get now 2 values on the latest value. We've got stronger consistency so that if your device is sending data slightly out of order, that you don't end up not really getting the latest value. So we respect that. Both of those are now GA. Both of those have been in public preview. So you are now good to go on both of those areas. We've improved the event and alarm APIs so that you now have a with source addition parameter. And we have also done some inventory API updates so that when we return the number of parents, we return the actual number rather than just setting a limit of 3. So some nice usability enhancements there around our APIs, none of which are going to break anybody using the API as it currently stands. And now what I want to do is give you a quick update on where we are on 2 really quite important features that have been in public preview for the past quarter. The certificate authority is in the process of going to general availability. It's in the train right now to start being deployed. There's just one breaking change between public preview and general availability. If you've actually got a POC that's been running, you will need to re-register any device that you have on that POC in order to be able to use the full capability of the certificate authority feature. For the MQTT service feature, which I know that we're all really excited about, we said that we were going to make all breaking changes as quickly as we could from the public preview to GA. We've done that. The Java Client SDK has been deprecated and has been replaced by a direct messaging service API that you can use. Device isolation has been enabled by default. So you can start getting used to both of those different approaches right now. And I'm also pleased to announce that the dynamic mapper has also been updated. So we're working very hard now in the background on all of the other features that we want to complete before GA. And one of those has been a really important feature that we've spoken about quite a lot. That's data preparation. We work closely with our colleagues in the data preparation team, and I'm not going to say any more because then I would actually be ruining Tal's rather splendid presentation. So Tal, I'm going to hand over to you and you can tell everybody about the data preparation.
Thanks, Jane. So everything you heard up until this point has been, what's new, what's happening, what is Cumulocity delivering this quarter or next quarter. What I'm going to take you through now is sort of a broader vision going into 2026 and onwards, right? And this topic of data preparation. Now, what is data preparation? It's simply the act of taking your raw device data, converting it into clean, consistent Cumulocity format data, and adding any enrichments or quality checks or any additional enhancements that you're looking to do, right? It's simply that process of getting your data from device into Cumulocity, right? That's really what we're talking about when we say data preparation. So if you ever hear that term in a future webinar or later today, that's really what we're talking about, is this process of converting that raw device data into that Cumulocity format, right? And where do we see this data preparation world sitting within the broader Cumulocity architecture, right? As Jane just kind of informed you about the new MQTT service, right? That's kind of the data acquisition side. That's how do we get data into Cumulocity, right? And we don't just have the MQTT service coming on board. We also, of course, have all of our device protocols, everything that you know and love with regards to device management. But after you onboard that data, right? That's really where this data preparation component comes in, right? It's how do I take this raw, unprocessed data and process it such that it's usable with my operational data store, my dashboards, or even in the future, our IceFlow or Data Hub products as well, right? So it's this intermediary step between the data acquisition and the use of the data downstream, right? And data preparation is not just one thing. There's a lot of things that can go on inside of data preparation, right? So we're talking about harmonization, right? So that means converting or normalizing your units, right? I'm obviously an American, right? So all of my data points would be in Fahrenheit, but if you want to take those and convert those to Celsius, right, that would be on the harmonization layer, right? We also do things like enrichment. So for example, Rahul mentioned the digital twin manager, walked you through all of that. There's a lot of context that's stored in that digital twin manager. We want to pull that into the data preparation solution such that when you are onboarding device data to Cumulocity, you can add that context directly on those measurements coming on board, right? And lastly, validation. We want to make sure that if you get a data point that's out of bounds or unexpected or outside of the time box you expect, right? How do you deal with that? How do you throw away those unnecessary data points so that they don't affect things like your analytics or your dashboarding down the line, right? All of this is under the scope of data preparation, right? And this is really what Cumulocity is now investigating. How do we bring a new data preparation component to market such that it is useful for all of you, right? So taking a step back, we took a look at how do you all of our customers, how do you guys onboard data to Cumulocity today, right? And typically it looks something like this, right? You have your raw device data, it's in JSON, it's in binary, it's something like that, and you've written some sort of conversion code to process that raw data and convert it to the Cumulocity data format of measurements, events, alarms, inventories, etc. Right? That conversion code that's sitting in the middle there, that's usually in some form of device agent, a custom microservice, a custom solution on the edge. It's really this customized kind of solution that all of you are creating in code, right? And that means you need developers, you need all of these different, you need operations, you need all of these different things to fall in place in order to support that code as it's going forward, right? Now, we do already have some solutions out there, right? We have things like our certified device partners, which talk in Cumulocity's language. We also have the dynamic mapper, which I'll touch on more in just a bit. But the key challenge that we identified is you guys need custom development for data preparation today, right? That means you need developers, you need operators, you need maintenance, you need a CI/CD pipeline, you need all of this stuff in order just to get data onto Cumulocity. And we set about trying to figure out a way that we can ease that process. We want to make it easier to onboard data to Cumulocity, right? Now, Nico showed this slide earlier, but I really like this slide because it highlights, the end-to-end how data goes from here to there using Cumulocity, right? And the point that I want to make here is with the new MQTT service coming online, your raw device data will be in the cloud, right? It will be in sort of ready to go with Cumulocity. The problem is it's not in Cumulocity's format. It's in whatever raw device format that device is talking in, right? And that's really where we see this data preparation component existing, right? Next to and alongside that new MQTT service, we want to have a component that allows you to quickly and easily process that data and turn it into a Cumulocity format so that you can do things downstream with it, right? Analytics, you can run your streaming analytics on top of it. You can offload it via Data Hub. You can use the digital twin manager to simulate your floors, all of that sort of stuff, right? This data preparation solution is sort of the bridge between the MQTT service and the downstream applications provided by Cumulocity and outside of Cumulocity, right? That's really where we see this data preparation fitting. So the other big thing that we're investigating is an AI-first approach to data preparation, right? One of the things that we consistently hear across the board is, hey, how is Cumulocity using AI, right? What is Cumulocity going to do with AI in the future? How are we going to leverage AI to better provide a solution through Cumulocity, right? And data preparation is a really, really good spot that we can use AI to assist you all in onboarding your data to Cumulocity, right? We are targeting a AI first user experience with the data preparation component that we're building, right? So that means code creation, validation, testing, monitoring, logging, all of that comes on board using an AI assistant that can help you do all of this, right? And we've spent a lot of time validating this approach, right? We've had discussions probably with some people on the call today, right? And a lot of people view data preparation as a great area where AI can be leveraged, right? If you think about what data preparation is, it's taking from format A to format B, right? And if you give an AI agent, those two formats and say convert between them, the AI will be able to do that pretty successfully. In all of our testing, we've had, far exceeded our expectations with how AI responds to this ask. So we really believe that an AI first approach is the correct way to go for such a data preparation component, right? And just kind of reiterating my point here, why do we want to move this to an AI driven approach? The first reason is we want to reduce the development time. As I previously mentioned, currently there's a lot of custom development necessary for onboarding data to Cumulocity, or traditionally there is, right? That means you need developer time. That means you need people that know how to code in order to onboard data into Cumulocity, right? We want to reduce that, right? Now, obviously, this is going to be an AI first coding based approach, but you and I don't know how to code, but I can talk in natural language to an AI chatbot and it can produce code that works for me, right? We want to dramatically reduce the amount of development time necessary to onboard data into Cumulocity, and this is a great way to do it. Right. And as I just mentioned, you don't need to be a coding expert to do it. With an AI chatbot, I'm sure we've all used ChatGPT or Claude or something to write some simple script, right? It's really easy to onboard data in this way, to produce some code that works, right? And that allows people to focus on the business value of your data rather than worrying about how am I going to deploy this code? How am I going to update this code? How am I going to make sure that this code runs on my devices, right? We want to make sure that you all can focus on the business value out of Cumulocity and what you're actually doing with that valuable data that you're pumping into Cumulocity, right? And then lastly, Cumulocity is a leading IoT platform. I'm sure you all heard the recent news about the Gartner Magic Quadrant, but we want to, really ensure that AI is used across the platform as it's a booming technology, and we want to make sure we're leading at the forefront of the so-called AIoT space, right? We want to make sure that we are the leading player, not only in IoT, but also AIoT as well, right? So this AI first approach that we're taking to data preparation has been validated, and we're really excited about bringing this to you all. So, at its core, right, let's take a kind of a broader step back. How does data preparation work, right? So you have your raw input device data, right? So as I mentioned previously, here's an example where we have a temperature in the Yankee unit of Fahrenheit, right? And then what we're going to offer is a data preparation engine that's sitting within Cumulocity, right? So you have the ability to create custom rules using an AI assistant, and that AI assistant will then be deployed to your Cumulocity tenants, and it will allow anything that comes in matching that format to be processed by this rule and then output into the platform itself, right? So in this case, we just have some pseudocode here that's taking that Fahrenheit value, converting it into Celsius, right? But I hope you can understand, the power of this, right? You can take any input format using this data preparation engine and convert it to a Cumulocity format, right? That's really what we're targeting throughout this component, right? Now, where do we stand today, right? So development is beginning now, right? We spent a long time doing investigation work, collecting requirements, understanding what needs to be done in order to support such a data preparation component within Cumulocity, right? And so you can see this is, of course, a very high level roadmap, subject to change, of course, but it is, I show this slide not to go through the details, but to tell you we are beginning development now, right? We know that this is an important area, especially as the new MQTT service that Jane mentioned is coming online next year. We want to make sure that we are providing a complete end-to-end data management solution through Cumulocity IoT, and the data preparation component will be the next evolution of that. It's the next step in that. So If you have, any comments, if you have requirements, please don't hesitate to get in contact with me. Now's a really great time as we are getting started with the development to hear your requirements and really understand what you need out of such a data prep component. Now, if all of this sounds familiar, wait a second, I thought Cumulocity has a data preparation solution. Yes, we do. We have this lovely, amazing open source component called the Dynamic Mapper, built by Stefan Witschel and Christoph Strack. Dynamic Mapper has accelerated our development of our own, data preparation solution that'll sit within the product components because they've done a lot of the headwork in validating those requirements, right? We also know that the Dynamic Mapper is of incredible value to a lot of customers. I have a quote here that says, "I want this as part of the product," right? So we know such a data preparation or data mapping solution would be very important to ship alongside the standard Cumulocity set of products, right? And that's why we're investing the R&D efforts now into developing a new component that'll sit within Cumulocity, right? We're really taking the learnings of the Dynamic Mapper and applying those as we build out this solution, right? Now, I will say, I'm mentioning, this data preparation component. We are starting development now, so we're not even at the phase of private preview yet, right? We're just getting started. But if you do have data preparation and/or data mapping needs, the Dynamic Mapper is available open source to you right now, right? It's a complete solution, and as Jane just mentioned, it was just recently updated with support for the public preview of the MQTT service, right? So the Dynamic Mapper is available for you today, and we are taking the learnings from and the feedback from the Dynamic Mapper and applying that to our new development work of a data preparation component, right? So this is my summary here. We have a new AI-first data preparation that is in development now. The Dynamic Mapper is available today for any of your data mapping needs. And if you have any use cases, any requirements, anything that you think would be relevant to bring to the discussion, please don't hesitate to contact me. I am more than eager to dive into your use cases, understand your requirements, and really build something that's valuable for you all, right? The screenshot on the slide is just a mock-up that we're working on, but if you want to kind of go through that mock-up, give your feedback on it, please don't hesitate. I'm more than happy to take you through that. Right. So that's the end of the data management section.